Hey everybody, I just want to have a little discussion here, and because I've had this conversation with multiple stores, it's the most asked question that we ask each other. That, like, if I talk with any store owner, actually, what do you do with cancellations and returns? Because, it's a part of buying and selling stuff. It's that sometimes an orders get canceled for various reasons. Addy, I just got a complaint from the customer. You're not drawing the lines straight enough.
But there's no lines.
If you want to see your family for Christmas, you better draw straighter lines.
Mom? Yeah. I won't make it for another Christmas.
Items get returned, and it's every store has a different policy, and we all try to figure out what we want to do with it. So I just figured, hey, it'll be better if I can explain the reason behind every store owner and why we implement such policies for returns and cancellation. Now, before everybody whips out their Nerf guns and their pitchforks, you're telling me never to cancel an order?
I need to cancel no.
And I'm not saying no, never cancel your orders. It is natural part of shopping. It could just be the CIA is stealing your exhaust from your car and you just need the money to, or maybe the toy is just crap and your favorite YouTuber is just telling you this toy is crap and it's radioactive. It will literally kill you. I don't know. Sometimes you just have financial troubles. And putting food is more important. Well, I want to discuss the reason behind why stores implement their own policies for returns and cancellations. Maybe you'll just change some of your shopping habits and you'll be like, oh, knowing this, maybe I'll shop differently. So, let's just have a seat and let's talk about it. Hoorah! All right. So the first point, which is I think there's the most contention in it, it's because, well, I also think that a majority of the population just don't know, and that is the processing fee. Now, before you think processing fee, when somebody says processing fee, they don't actually mean the time it takes me to read the email and cancel the order. No, that's not the processing fee. The processing fee is actually a fee that merchants have to pay to Visa, MasterCard, American Express, PayPal, and all these other companies. That's how they make money. And before you make money by interest, no. Before you put that in the comments down, interest is for the banks. The banks make money off your interest payments. But to process the order, that's done by Visa, MasterCard, American Express. Now, the payments are scalable, which is why merchants kind of get more upset the bigger the order that's being canceled.
Out for love, I'm walking out really down in a cool breeze.
They're taking percentage off the order, so they usually the percentage is anywhere between 2.5% to 5%, depending on your volume, I guess, and your deal with these credit card companies. So usually, if you make a $100 order, we'll pay $4 on that $100 order. It's also the payment is taken off the total order, so it's your shipping cost, the taxes you're paying, all of that we're paying 4% as a processing fee. So now normally this is not an issue. But the problem is when you cancel an order and we have to process a refund. Well, we are again processing an order even if it's just canceling, and we're forced to pay that fee again. So we're paying the same fee twice over. You made an order, we paid $4, and then you're canceling an order, so we have to refund you, and we have to pay another $4. So all of a sudden, this $100 order that was canceled, I just lose $8, and there's no actual order that's happening.
Where is the money?
Well, you canceled it, and we still ended up paying that processing fee twice. It leaves a bad taste, if get some cancellations and they're some guy middle of the night, maybe had a little bit too much to drink, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna order 10 G.I. Joe Cobra Troopers, and then spends $250. Then obviously he wakes up the next day oh, that wasn't a very good idea. I'm just gonna cancel that order. The store just loses $20. If you cancel your order right away, or 6 months later, we're still paying that fee. So when you think about it, as any store, it's you try and not lose money, right? So because you're in a business, and these cancellations that come in sometimes relatively small reasons, or so as a business, you try to not lose money, and obviously paying processing fee for an order coming in and out doesn't make sense, right? So then there has to be a way to mitigate that, right? And as a store, it doesn't feel right to be paying this processing fee. When Galactus HasLab was being run, there was a lot of Marvel Legend order cancellation, because people were this Galactus only open for the HasLab, while these regular mainstream items are going to always be there. So I'm just going to cancel the order, and you know, I'll just buy it back later. And the store, it's like, it kind of sucks because like we're getting this wave of cancellations. It's limited, so like, okay, I'm just gonna treat the store as like kind of like a bank and just, you know, cancel my order and get my refund and then buy the Galactus. Then later on I'll go look around for those mainline figures. And you know, like for me as a store, like when that Galactus came out, we looked at it and it's like it was our biggest month of cancellations where people were canceling their orders because, you know, they wanted to buy Galactus. And it's a very large and noticeable amount. Whenever a good HasLab comes out, you know, people really want it and they have pre-orders and they're like, oh, I'll just cancel my pre-orders and I'll reorder it later on. And like as a store, it's like really hurts us because, you know, we're getting thousands of dollars canceled, and the processing fee is scalable because it's a percentage. So, you know, the bigger your cancellation, the more we lose out on. Or, you know, like the worst I'm hearing is like these influencers, you know, they're like saying, yeah, just order from and all these other stores, and then just whoever sends it to you first, cancel the other 4. And you know, it's like, oh, and if you make a mistake and like 2 of them send it to you, just ask for a return, you know, it doesn't matter. And it's like, no, it matters so much that, you know, you just, you know, the amount of profit these companies would have made is all lost in that ether because of that decision that you're like, just, you know, order from 5 of them and then cancel 4 of them when one of them actually ships it. It's a tough world that people are like, you know, giving that idea out, and some people are like doing that, and it's such a strange way because, you know, like e-commerce is still growing and it's still developing, but some people are like having that mentality, and it's even us as a wholesaler or as a retailer, even we don't have that option, right? If you remember, you know, Moon Boy Entertainment, these guys, they charge retailers 15% for cancellations, and this is like before they even take the money, so it's not even like a processing fee. They're just charging 15% to cancel an order because they just don't like it. So like some stores, like we try to figure out our ways around the whole processing fee. So like for us, we ask you, like, you know, can we give you store credit? Because this way, if we give you store credit, it's internal, so we don't have to pay the processing fee. We don't have to pay Visa or MasterCard to use our own store credit. This way, we only paid it once when you made the purchase, and then when you make your second purchase with store credit, we don't pay a processing fee, and we don't have to pay a processing fee to return, so we don't have to pay 2 processing fees out of it. So that's why we offer full refunds in store credit, because it avoids that whole issue. Otherwise, I mean, obviously, if you just need the money, then sure, we just offer a 10% cancellation fee just to pay for our processing fee. So the second point that a lot of people say, like, don't charge up front. And like, I mean, that brings a lot of issues. First, it's all assuming that everybody likes to pay on time. Like, no, it's some people want to pay in advance because they don't want to think about it. Like the last 2 months, orders have been piling in way in advance. Like, you know, you were expecting to receive some products late and they come in early, and some late products come in also at the same time, and all of a sudden you have a huge bill and you're not ready to pay for it. So some people like prefer just to pay for it and forget about it, and then when it comes in there, they don't have to pay for anything. There's no surprises. The other thing is it leads to the mass cancellations, because people just place a pre-order and they'll cancel with you. The other issue is that it's very intensive for stores to, there are many people that, you know, you forget your credit cards expire, or we have to, you know, start contacting you in order to make sure, hey, is your information still correct? Or, and I mean, there's like a lot of issues with not taking the money up front for an order. For it's like, first of all, there's a lot of people that they'll just like not pay for it. Like, oh no, I don't want to pay for it anymore. I just cancel my order. It messes your information up because you thought that this was an order. Or, you know, people just, you know, forget that their credit cards expired, and, you know, 6 months later you try to process the order and it doesn't work because the credit card's expired, and you have to try to call and contact the customer. Then if you cancel it, automatically they're like, oh, I wanted that order, and it's like, well, I tried to contact you for like 2 weeks.
I am the one who cancels orders.
And then the other issue obviously is it's a lot of liability. Like when you charge up front, none of the information needs to be saved in our system. You know, you're paying it on the back end, and then that's it. So no employee or no servers in our end is holding your credit card information. We have zero liability that way. So it's like peace of mind for a store. Like, we're not responsible for that information. I don't want to be involved with your credit card information. I'd rather just, it's handled on the back end, and you pay for it, it's done. Then we just receive your order, and, you know, we feel safe and you feel safe and everybody's happy. So it's not really an option. And obviously there's the big issue of getting the wrong information, because it becomes impossible to judge inventory demand. I'll show you an example here. So for example, over here, in our giant wall over there, we have about 150 G.I. Joe Snake Eyes and Timber. Now, granted, it was our best-selling figure in 2021 or 2020. Everybody loved it. Like right here, this is our best-selling figure for 2021. The problem is that we still have 150 left, and this is a 2-year-old product. And obviously, like as a store, that's a lot of money tied up. And the reason why we have a bunch of it tied up is that people were very worried about not being able to get this product in, so they ordered from a bunch of places. Once they knew that this item was going to be available, every store was able to get all their quantities that they wanted because they knew it was going to be a good selling figure. So Hasbro just like made a large amount of orders. But this at the end left us with all this inventory that we did order, but then every customer like realized this will not be a rare figure that they can just get it. Like, it's not rare right now, but they realized like, oh, at the time that they were scared that they were not going to be able to get this figure, so they made their safety net orders with like multiple stores, because they figured half these stores were going to cancel their orders and whatnot, and we didn't, and so then customers started canceling orders after we've already committed to buying these products. And so now it's like, I have 150 G.I. Joe's Snake Eyes and Timbers, and I'm selling them for $34 US or 44 Canadian. Like, I'm selling it, I think, the cheapest around, and I'm still stuck with them. So like, as much as we love this figure, I also need to buy the new products, and people are like, oh, why don't you have more of the new products? Because I have, $7,000 to $8,000 worth of another figure.
I gotta do it, man.
We way overestimated, because our information said, oh, we're going to be sold out of this stuff because everybody wants it, and great. But then when you have that many cancellations, you're just like,
This is not
a pre-order.
I can't cancel from my distributor because, Moonboy Entertainment will charge me 15% if you cancel an order, and they don't take your money up front, but they will charge us 15% if we just decide to cancel the order, because, well, they don't want to also be stuck with the wrong demand of an item that they thought the demand was more. And obviously, it takes a lot of space. Like, we have to get a whole shelf just to place them there. And now, obviously, like, this is just a headache. Trying to figure out like how much demand is. So some stores like, okay, I'm just gonna order once pre-sell, then only the ones that were canceled, I'll just put them up as inventory, and that could be a possible way. But then it leaves like stores not ordering enough of it because we don't want to be stuck with oversupply. So I've seen your other stores that don't charge up front because they have a large pool of people just canceling orders because they're not charging up front. So like, and I've seen like now, like your big bads, they are like, if you're a notorious order canceller, they're putting you at the back of the queue because they realize like, hey, you're most like one of those people that are just gonna keep canceling orders. You're gonna end up canceling the order. So a lot of people have been posting that they get that message. And I've seen like Jeff Bezos, he literally like cancels your ability to make pre-orders if you do it too often, or he comes in and breaks your legs and like sells your house to the bank if you cancel too many pre-orders on Jeff Bezos' site. Now the last bit that obviously just plain out sucks is returns. Returns, well, that's a tough one. Most returns are, your opinion varies very widely. We can't agree on anything in the whole in a country or in a city or in a household. Opinions just vary, right? What your like opinions could be, when people do returns, it's like, it wasn't my expectation, right? That's a very common one. And it's like, yeah, I bought the Transformer, and like, okay, what's wrong with it? Why is there a return? Just for our own information. It's like, oh yeah, I turned it the wrong way and it snapped, and you want to return it now? Yeah, I want to return it because it didn't fit my expectation, because I thought it would be more sturdy, and if I forced it, it wouldn't break, it would just move. And like, it's like, how do we? So for me, it's like, I feel like that's you drive a car too fast and you hit a wall. You can't say, oh, I expect the car to go through the wall, right? But expectations are different for some people. And there's also obviously stuff where it's like, they buy 4 toys and they get free shipping. They decide to return 3 of them, and they want you to just, yeah, but you got free shipping on that one product, and then you return the other 3. So, the profit of that one is not going to pay for shipping twice back and forth. And people don't expect that. Or they say stuff like, they buy a $10 product and they want to return it because, they bought a Funko Pop. It's going to cost us $15 just to ship it back to us. What are we supposed to do? We have to accept the customer's return, but it's like, it's a $10 product and we're going to pay $15 to return it. And, I don't want to, but at the same time, we can't just say, let everybody who buys a cheap product and then make it not tell them don't return it, right? So, but the truth is, like, the worst part about returns is, especially nowadays with the windowless packaging, once we get a return, we can't, like, I want to say 99% of my customers are honest and great people, but I can't, like, if maybe the manual falls out of the box when you opened it and you want to return it. And I'm too worried that like somebody will like change the hands of a figure and then like put a different set of hands, and I can't like look at every product and say, this is the right figure and this is the right hands. Like, so there's no way for us to inspect every single return that we get. So for us, whenever we get a return, it just becomes a dead product. And that's why like in our store, we have a buy as if box where they're just all returns. And the products will be completely fine, but we just don't know because there's no way for us to inspect and know what every product is the correct product or the authentic product. That's generally like why returns also are hated, because like I don't know how some stores do it, but I know our store, like for us, when we get a return, the product is dead. We just put it in the box, and if somebody comes in store and they want to buy it, sure, but we tell them like these are returns. It's buy as is, sorry. So like we don't know what's inside the box, or so like we check the product and we open it in the box and like, okay, it's an Iron Man. Like we have a basic check to make sure the product is correct, but then it's like we can't resell it in the as if box, and if people want to get it, then they can take that box. But that's why as a store it kind of sucks to receive a return, because there is figure swapping. There are people who are malicious, and it's too hard to like figure out every way people want to return a figure and take one small item that they wanted. At the end of the day, that's why a lot of stores also hate returns, or because like once we sent the product out, we're hoping that doesn't come back to us. But here he is, and you know, the people say, oh, just monitor it, and it's like, no, we can't monitor every product, because like, you know, if the next customer gets it and he says, oh, there's something wrong with my return, how are we going to prove if it was the second customer or the first customer that screwed up with the return, right? Well, I hope that gave you guys some like insight and, you know, behind the scenes of the inner thinkings of running a store, and like it makes you understand like why certain policies are done. What do you think about the whole situation? Just, you know, leave a comment below, and stay frosty.